What is up, everybody? Sam Dog, the infamous 253, coming at you with Dallas Stewart on the speakerphone. Dallas, say what's up, man.
What's going on, everybody?
Yep, and now we are ready to do the Week 2 game picks of the 2020 NFL season. And here's what we did Week 1. We went 10-6 on our picks. Not bad to start the week out. That is definitely not bad to start the week out with some crazy games, man. So, yep, definitely. Week 1's always been the hardest week to pick, and saw a bunch of surprises, some surprise teams winning, and a little bit more, man. But wow, I mean, there were some crazy surprises, like Washington coming back from down 17-0 to beat the Eagles, and then that shootout, that high scoring game between the Panthers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders getting their first win as the Las Vegas Raiders, and then the freaking Jaguars upsetting the Colts, which no one saw coming, right?
Yeah.
And then, also, we'll talk about it more when we get to some of the picks in the game, but let's get into it. Hold on, I got a cough. Excuse me, just allergies, you know what I'm saying? But all right, now we're on the Week 2. First off, Thursday Night Football. We got the Cincinnati Bengals going north to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. And also the Cleveland Browns. Dallas, you want to tell the people who the Cleveland Browns just recently signed and booted?
They cut Austin's place kicker, Austin Seibert, and signed Cody Parkey.
The Doink King is now on the Cleveland Browns. Yep, the Doink King, Cody Parkey, is now on Cleveland. Only Cleveland, man.
Yeah, that's the Cleveland type move right there.
Yeah, the Bengals coming off of that heartbreaking loss in Joe Burrow's debut where Randy Bullock pulled the hammy and shanked the kick wide to the right, and the Browns got pistol whipped. Obviously saw that one coming by the Baltimore Ravens, and that Mark Andrews had a crazy-ass one-handed catch in that game for the Ravens in that game. Bengals and Browns, man, they're both going to be fighting for the bottom of the AFC North, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Mixon had a costly fumble. This is probably one of the toughest games to pick, man. But oh my gosh, I mean, both these teams are just bad. I mean, they're both just bad. I don't know. I'm gonna probably go ahead and pick the Cleveland Browns possibly to win this game. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals won. But I'm kind of leaning towards Nick Chubb having a big running game and a bounce back against the Bengals. I mean, don't know what Joe Mixon is going to do. Oh, this game is just so tough to pick. Who you going with?
I'm gonna go with the Cincinnati Bengals just because Cleveland looked so horrible last week.
It's a tough one. Do we want to make this our first split of the week just for the hell of it?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Fuck it. We're going to have our first split of the week on two of the crappiest teams in the league right now.
What do we call it?
The battle for worst team in Ohio.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put a D over you for Cincinnati. I'm going to put an S over me for the Browns. This should be a fun one. Just for the hell of it, the freaking, I don't know, Toilet Bowl Part 1.
Maybe.
For what are just worst team in Ohio Bowl.
Worst team in Ohio Bowl.
Yeah. Joe Burrow taking on Baker Mayfield, the two number 1 picks on Thursday Night Football. This should be a fun one, though, too. Moving on. Up next, we got the New York Giants, whose offense just got molested by the Pittsburgh defense, taking on the Chicago Bears, who had that come-from-behind fourth-quarter victory over the Detroit Lions in Detroit, man. That was a crazy comeback to watch through the red zone. I don't think we really saw it through the red zone, but that was a crazy ass comeback by the Bears against the Lions, and I can't believe that rookie running back dropped an easy game-winning touchdown in the end zone against the Bears. And then I can't believe how Daniel Jones looked in that game. I mean, he was just getting beat down bad by that Pittsburgh defense. Of course, they were up for a little bit, but then obviously Big Ben in his return got it going, and then that Pittsburgh defense was just making life hell for Daniel Jones, and Cameron Hayward had that red zone interception too. Man, I'm gonna take the Chicago Bears to get a win at home against the New York Giants in this one. I'm gonna take the Bears in this one to start off 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bears as well. It was an impressive comeback on the road against a division opponent.
Yeah.
They're just a better overall team than the Giants. The Giants, looks like you're in for another long year, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately so. All right. Up next, we got the LA Rams going to Philly to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Rams with a Monday night win to christen SoFi Stadium for their home with a Sunday night win. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Sunday night win to christen SoFi Stadium for their first game and first win over the Dallas Cowboys. The Philadelphia Eagles blew a 17-point lead to the Washington football team with that crazy comeback, and Peyton Barber had a hell of a game for the Washington football team. And man, Carson Wentz was just getting crapped on by that Washington defense later in the game after having his team up 17-0, man. I mean, he was just getting beat up, man. But unfortunately for Eagles fans, I think you're going to be 0-2. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams. Their defense looked pretty good last week.
Aaron Donald was killing.
Yeah, unfortunately, it'll be a disappointing 0-2 start, in my opinion, for the defending NFC East champion Eagles.
Yeah, it will be for sure, man. Depending on
that division looks like it's going to be horrible yet again.
Probably. All right. Up next, we got the Atlanta Falcons, who we just unleashed hell on last week in the second half, going up against the Dallas Cowboys, who made a bad decision with Mike McCarthy. I mean, Cowboys fans, I got to ask you this, man. Do you question Mike McCarthy for that move to go for it on 4th and 3 and instead of kicking the field goal when you're in a guaranteed like chip shot range for Greg Zuerlein, since Greg Zuerlein's on your team now? I mean, I kind of question McCarthy for that. It's kind of like when he didn't go for it on 4th and 2 when he was coaching the Packers in our Thursday night win against the Packers in 2018 when he decided to punt it and we just basically burnt out the clock. It was terrible decision-making like that basically got him fired from Green Bay. So, do you really trust Mike McCarthy to get the job done in Dallas? What do you think, Dallas?
Well, I mean, it's one game. He definitely has a chance to redeem himself, but yeah, that was a very questionable move. It's one of those moves where if it pays off, you look like a genius, and if it doesn't, well...
Then Stephen A. Smith will troll you for it, which he obviously did.
And he did, and...
Man, I'll tell you what, though, and the Cowboys lost Blake Jarwin to a torn ACL, tight end Blake Jarwin, and Leighton Vander Esch broke his collarbone. So 2 big hits for the Cowboys on defense and offense, man. And Atlanta Falcons, I mean, their defense, Dante Fowler, Grady Jarrett, Tack McKinley, man. I mean, they got the 3 sacks on us last week. I mean, they got nothing to hold their heads down on with, you know, how good of a defensive front they got. I mean, their secondary is the biggest question mark since we were torching them so bad in that one, man. I mean, the secondary, I mean, it's crazy on that, too. And the Cowboys were giving up big plays in their game against Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods in that game, and then giving up some runs to freaking Malcolm Brown. Gave up a couple touchdown runs from Malcolm Brown, too, man. I think I'm gonna take the Cowboys to bounce back, but I think this game will be a good one, too, depending on if the Falcons' defense can step back up and you know, try to limit Amari Cooper and Gallup and CeeDee Lamb and whatnot, too. But I'm going to take the Cowboys to bounce back and get their first win of the season.
I'm going to take the Cowboys as well. Atlanta's secondary looked really horrible last week against us. But if the Cowboys lose, I think it might be time to hit the panic button.
Yeah.
Because then the Cowboys have to come up here the following week.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy.
I mean, this is a team that, again, they have high expectations, and Jason Garrett is no longer there anymore, so they can't use him as the scapegoat anymore.
You got to use Mike McCarthy as
the players, not the coach.
Yeah, but then again, I would use Mike McCarthy's decision making as a scapegoat as well.
But if you lose this game, I think it's time to hit that panic button. But I think the Cowboys bounce back and get a win on the road.
No, the Cowboys are at home.
Win at home.
Yeah. All right, up next we got the Carolina Panthers, who just lost to the Las Vegas Raiders, going to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers obviously were not ready for the Saints. The Saints are still the top dog in the NFC South, in my opinion, after watching what they did to freaking Tom Brady. I mean, Brady, man, he was getting beat pretty bad on taking those sacks. 2 interceptions, man. But, I mean, obviously he scored his first touchdown on opening drive, but then New Orleans just opened it up with Alvin Kamara on him, and then the pick 6, and then hitting Emmanuel Sanders for the touchdown. I mean, man, I don't know what to think with Tampa Bay right now on this one with how they were looking against New Orleans and going forward in the future. And the Carolina Panthers were in a big high scoring game with the Las Vegas Raiders, ultimately lost at the end with that last Josh Jacobs touchdown and then getting stopped on that 4th down play. And Panthers are 0-1, Buccaneers 0-1, but I'm gonna take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get and Tom Brady to get his first win as the Buccaneers quarterback against the Carolina Panthers. I'm taking the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Buccaneers to bounce back. That was a pretty dreadful performance in Tom Brady's Tampa debut. Carolina their defense doesn't look like it's going to be very good. I think they'll feel the effects of Luke Kuechly's retirement.
I think they will too, man.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Tampa. I think Carolina might finish last place in the NFC South this year. Again.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got the San Francisco 49ers going to MetLife to take on the New York Jets. Le'Veon Bell is now on the injury reserve, and the 49ers, man. I cannot believe that game that happened with them against the Arizona Cardinals. They were getting carved up by DeAndre Hopkins in that game. And Kyler Murray using his feet, man. And George Kittle sprained his leg in that game and still came back to finish the game, though. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I don't know what the severity of the sprained leg for George Kittle is and if he'll still play this game and whatnot, though, too. But I think this is the type of game where you could rest him in that, too. And for the New York Jets, I think you're going to be 0-2 again. The Jets are going to another 0-2 start. I'm taking the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm taking the 49ers to take their frustrations out on the Jets. I wouldn't be surprised if this got out of hand early.
Probably will get out of hand early. All right, up next, we got the Denver Broncos taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 2 teams that are playing Monday night doubleheaders against Broncos losing to the Titans, Steelers beating the Giants in MetLife Stadium, and the Broncos losing at home in a crazy-ass game against the Tennessee Titans, man, where the Titans missed 3 field goals. The Broncos had their chances to capitalize, and they didn't quite capitalize in the end when they let Tannehill and the Titans go downfield and set up Gostkowski for that much easier chip shot field goal to give them the lead, and then they obviously couldn't convert on a Hail Mary at the end, too, or didn't really get close to that, too. They were just trying to get in the field goal range, but there obviously wasn't enough time, so, yeah, that's how Denver lost, too. But Pittsburgh, man, Pittsburgh's defense, Ben Roethlisberger being back, though, too, is definitely paying its dividends with the way he was playing. He had 3 touchdown passes last night, 2 to Juju Smith-Schuster, I think 1 to James Washington in that game. Dallas?
Yeah, their defense looked pretty good last night.
Yeah.
Granted, it was the Giants.
And then Jerry Jeudy, even in this game for the Broncos as a rookie, Jerry Jeudy was looking pretty good for Denver. And then Melvin Gordon had a touchdown for the Broncos last night. But, man, I'll tell you what, Jerry Jeudy was looking good. Tough loss for the Broncos, though, too. But, unfortunately, I think the Broncos are going to start out 0-2. So I really like Pittsburgh's defense in that with the way they got after Daniel Jones. I think they're going to really get after Drew Lock in this game, though, too. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to go to 2-0 in this one. I'm taking the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers as well to get to 2-0.
Yeah, you really like what their defense did on Monday night?
Yeah, but I was impressed with Denver's defense without Von Miller.
Yeah, I was impressed.
Titans in check like that.
Yeah, I was impressed with that, with the way they were holding him in check, too. And plus, Jadeveon Clowney made his debut game for the Titans, too. I don't think he really did much in that game for the Titans. I didn't really see him do much for the Titans in that game,
No, I didn't either.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars going to Tennessee, AFC South matchup to take on the Tennessee Titans. The Jaguars coming off of an upset win over the Indianapolis Colts, and the Jaguars are now Gardner Minshew's team, basically. And the Tennessee Titans, obviously, crazy, barely escaped from Denver. Scott Skowski missing those 4 kicks, including the PAT. But he missed 3 field goals in total. Made the 4th kick that counted the most at the end. And Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, they're still going to be doing their thing. It was a rusty game, but I think the Titans will pick up their momentum again, even though after a rusty start in Denver. I think the Titans will get to 2-0. So I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to win this one again at home against the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm taking the Titans to get to 2-0. The Jaguars was a surprise win last week against Indianapolis at home. But I like the Titans to start getting on a roll.
Yeah, me too, man. I feel you on that one. I think Tennessee will get back to where they left off, to their playoff form football that they were playing late in the season last year. And Derrick Henry will probably have a much better day than what he had last week. Yesterday, last night. We'll see what happens. Tennessee will most likely probably get the 2-0. Let me take a drink really quick. All right. Up next, and another NFC North battle. We got the Detroit Lions going to Lambeau to take on the Green Bay Packers. That's easy. Packers.
Oh, yeah. The Packers probably in a rout.
Yep. Most likely.
Lions, it's just... I think it's another long... this could be Patricia's last year in Detroit.
Most likely. I agree. Up next, Buffalo Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins. The Bills coming off of a 10-point win over the New York Jets. They looked a little rusty at first. Josh Allen fumbled a ball, recovered by Bradley McDougall. The Bills had some turnover issues early, but it didn't look like they were fazed by it and were still able to take care of business against the Jets. The Dolphins, obviously, beat by Cam Newton, gave up 2 rushing touchdowns to Cam Newton, and, of course, a rushing touchdown to Sony Michel. The Dolphins, when are we going to see Tua? We're probably going to see Tua. Do you think we'll see Tua soon if Fitzpatrick doesn't get the job done, obviously? Well, we know he's not going to get the job done. He's taking on the Bills. Buffalo wins.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks have a chance to maybe see Tua by the time they play them in Miami in Week 4, but I'm taking the Bills.
That's obvious.
Fitzpatrick, hang it up.
Yeah. Up next, we got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts got upset by Jacksonville. The Vikings got beat by Green Bay. Tried coming back. Obviously, it was too little too late, though. But Indianapolis Colts losing running back Marlon Mack for the year. Now they got to rely on rookie running back from Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor. And Phillip Rivers had a couple we were thinking the Colts. What happened to the Colts last week? What the heck happened to the Colts last week?
I have no idea. I think they just
shot themselves in the foot.
I think they got the wrong quarterback in the offseason.
Phillip Rivers.
You trade for Phillip Rivers when Cam Newton was still out on the market. They would have been better. They would have been better getting Cam Newton than Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, and do they still have Jacoby Brissett as a backup? I know they got Jacob Eason's the backup right now. Is Jacob Eason?
I think did Jacoby Brissett go back to New England?
I don't think Jacoby Brissett went back to New England. I think Brian Hoyer. I think it's Jarrett Stidham that's backing up Cam Newton. I don't think Brian Hoyer's on their team right now. Unless Brian Hoyer is on New England as a third string.
I think he's like the third string. I don't know where Jacoby Brissett went, but
yeah,
you made that splash to get Phillip Rivers, and I don't think Phillip Rivers played bad. I think it was just the defense that let Indianapolis down.
Yeah, and let the Jags just pull that upset with Gardner Mustache Man Minshew. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings to bounce back after their loss to the Green Bay Packers. The Vikings got a good defense. Dalvin Cook had some touchdowns the other day too. Adam Thielen, and I think the Vikings will bounce back. I'm taking the Vikings.
I'm taking Minnesota to bounce back and get to 1-1. Yeah, their offense still looked pretty good last week. It was just, man, their defense absolutely got shredded by the Packers.
Yeah.
We gave up 156 receiving yards to Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I thought you had a better defense than that. I guess not having Everson Griffin, I guess, kills you, but I thought you had Ngakoue, you know?
They do have Ngakoue, and yet they still got shredded by Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little obvious for that. But for this pick and for the Colts' sake, probably another letdown.
I still have hopes for Minnesota this year.
You do?
Yeah, I think they're a wild card team again.
We'll see. Up next, we got the Washington football team going to the Big Toaster in Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals, after last week, I don't think any of us anymore are going to be sleeping on Arizona after what they pulled off in Levi's Stadium last week, man. Definite, man, nobody's sleeping on them. DeAndre Hopkins was torching the San Francisco secondary and defense, and Kyler Murray played, I mean, although he did have the one turnover, and then Chandler Jones did get hurt even after a sack he had. I think I heard Chandler Jones did get hurt, which I bet it's nothing too serious. And then frickin', man, I cannot believe that touchdown run that Kyler Murray had to give him the lead. There were like a few consecutive lead changes on consecutive drives in the fourth quarter or later in that game. And then also, man, damn, I can't believe that goal line stop that the Cardinal defense had in the red zone on that fourth down stop they had on the 49ers. That definitely came back to bite the 49ers heavy in the ass in that one, man. But, man, I think the Cardinals open up a bunch of eyes right now with how well they're playing right now. I mean, how well they played in that win against the 49ers. DeAndre Hopkins, 151 receiving yards. Almost had a touchdown, was just marked short, but it set up the easy go-ahead Kenyon Drake touchdown. And the Washington football team coming off of a come-from-behind, obvious, later became killing of the Philadelphia Eagles, although they just won by 10 points. But, man, Dwayne Haskins played better than what he was playing last year. Maybe Riverboat Ron's having an effect on Dwayne Haskins' play, maybe? What do you think, Dallas?
Yeah, I think having a new coach in there is helping Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, yeah, I would say...
but I'm going with Arizona in this one.
Yeah, I'm going Arizona.
I still can't believe... I know it's only 1 week, but I still can't believe Washington's in first place in the NFC.
I cannot believe that
But
either.
that's probably going to be the only week they're in first place the whole year, you know?
It probably is, Dallas.
Don't get used to it, Washington fans.
Yeah, I would say don't get used to it either, man. Oh, man, don't get used to it. Up next, we got the Baltimore Ravens going to Houston to take on the Texans with Deshaun Watson. Texans beat on the kickoff game, obviously, by Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. The Ravens just pistol-whipped the Cleveland Browns, obviously, at home. Revenge for when they got blown out in their first meeting last year in M&T Bank Stadium. Ravens definite revenge. I'm gonna take Lamar Jackson to continue going on a streak. I got the Ravens winning against the Texans at this point, man. I'm taking the Ravens.
I'm taking the Ravens as well to get to 2-0, and it'll be a disappointing 0-2 start for the defending AFC South champion Houston Texans. But what a brutal first 2 games. You get the last 2 league MVPs.
Yeah.
That's not an easy task right there.
It is not an easy task at all to get the last 2 defending MVPs in Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in the first 2 weeks of the season, man.
I bet they're already missing DeAndre Hopkins.
They are, especially after what he did in San Francisco.
What was going on in your head when you made that deal?
What was going on in Bill O'Brien's head, indeed, man, when he made that trade, man? That was just dumb. And the freaking Cardinals reaped the benefits of it in Week 1, upsetting the 49ers.
Yep.
Yeah. Up next, we got the Chiefs taking on the Chargers in the Chargers SoFi Stadium debut. This one's easy. Chiefs in a blowout.
Yeah. Chiefs roll in this one. Chargers, that was a nice win against the Bengals, but honestly, the Bengals probably either should have beat you guys or at least sent it to overtime.
Yeah, and obviously the Chiefs are way, 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 way ahead of you guys. So I think your SoFi Stadium debut will end in a big L for the Chargers.
This one could get ugly.
Yeah. Up next, up next, we got the New England Patriots coming here to take on our Seattle Seahawks. Man, Cam Newton had a nice day against the Miami Dolphins, 2 rushing touchdowns, but they won that game 27-11. Not really hot. They looked a little. I'll tell you what. With how New England was looking, New England looked a little bit rusty in the beginning, though. Too. I mean, with how low and close it was with Miami cutting it to 11-14. Seahawks, man, Russell Wilson was just cooking, man. We let Russell cook, and he unleashed hell on the Falcons in that game. I mean, we got off to that quick start. Jamal Adams, hell of a debut game, as we were talking about in our post game, man, and just he was lighting it up. We're on Sunday Night Football, man. I forgot to put the SNF for Sunday Night Football on the paper thing for that. Seahawks versus Patriots. We all know the last some odd meetings, even the Super Bowl and everything, though, too. But this time, we're taking on a Brady-less Pats team. And, man, I'll tell you what, I still think with the way we were playing, man, just the way that the receivers and that for New England was, I don't think Cam Newton, I don't really think N'Keal Harry, man. He got stripped, and that ball went through the end zone for the touchback, man, and it's just, the Patriots, they don't look like the same dominant Patriots teams we were used to seeing in the past when they had Brady, man, and I don't know if Cam Newton's going to cut it in New England, even after, let's be real, they were playing the Dolphins last week, but I never sleep on Bill Belichick with the way he schemes up for games, too, I never sleep on Bill Belichick at all. Because he's arguably one of the greatest coaches, probably the greatest coach of all time right now. I mean, the man has like 8 Super Bowl rings, 2 of them as the Giants defensive coordinator way back in the day we had Lawrence Taylor, and then obviously a 6 that he won as the Patriots head coach. But, man, I think it's completely different, man, with this one. The Patriots took the biggest hits during the freaking offseason with the COVID-19 opt-outs of Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung, Brandon Bolden, the running back. They took a lot. Yeah, they took some big freaking hits in opt-outs for their freaking defense and offense, and I think it's going to come back to bite them in the ass, man. I can't wait for this one. I'm taking the Seahawks to get a big win at home to get to 2-0. Give me the Seahawks, and Master at Work is going to be hanging with Elvis after this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks as well, and we will be going live for this one as we will watch it together.
We'll think about going live.
No fans in the stadium.
Yeah, it sucks, but I'm not sleeping on Bill Belichick and that defense though too.
Either. I don't think Cam Newton has the weapons around.
Yeah, shout out to Master at Work for coming onto my channel and freaking saying some things in the comments for the upcoming game, man. I think it's gonna be a fun matchup. I've seen his channel with some of the stuff he does on his channel, even in the TTC. But yeah, I don't think the Patriots are anything. I don't think they're anything without Tom. I don't think they're anything without Tom Brady, man. I don't see it with them, and I think my Seahawks are in for another big day. Russell Wilson gets cooking early with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Fast Freddie Swain, which he had a nice little catch in that too. If we get some other receivers going, and Chris Carson, and our tight end groups, if we just cook early, we have a chance to put up some more big numbers again. So I'm taking the Seahawks with a big win over the Patriots. Master at Work, you're going to be hanging with Elvis after this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks to get to 2-0.
Yeah, but it's gonna be fun though, man. It's gonna be fun.
It's always fun going against New England.
Except this.
Cam, it's always fun against.
And plus, also, all the times we played against Cam Newton, 2012, 2013. Twice in 2014, so 1, 2, and 3, 4.
Twice in 2015.
Yeah, which obviously he got us those 2 times, and then we played him in 2016 where we beat him 40-7. So on Sunday Night Football, and then
I think the game where Earl Thomas broke his leg.
Yeah, and then in 2018 we had that big win against them, 30-27. So the
2-4 all time.
Yeah, so our record against Cam Newton is 2012 we got that win, 2013, the 2 in 2014, the win in 2016, and the win in 2018. We are 6-2 all time against Cam Newton. We basically are Cam Newton's kryptonite.
Yeah,
and I expect
6-2, okay.
Yeah, I expect it to continue. I hope Jamal Adams puts a big ass hit on Cam Newton and does some freaking damage, because who knows? I mean, if we're able to do a big enough hit to pop Cam Newton good enough, and if we're able to shut down Julian Edelman and N'Keal Harry and some of their other receivers and their running game and Sony Michel and James White and freaking, I don't know if Burkhead's getting any play or whatnot too. I mean, I'm not going to say it, because I don't want anybody to get hurt, but if we pop Cam Newton hard enough to the point where Bill Belichick freaking throws in Jarrett Stidham, it's over for the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would be over for them. But yeah, Seahawks over Patriots. Let's go get that second win at home in our home opener in Seattle. Up next, we got the debut, the freaking Allegiant Stadium debut. We got the New Orleans Saints coming down from the Bayou off their big win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going to Sin City, Las Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders after they come off of their win against the Carolina Panthers. And I seen some picks earlier when I was watching some of the people's game picks. One person said 31-30 Saints over Raiders. I don't even think the Raiders will even put up close to that number against the New Orleans Saints. I'm taking the Saints to just carve it up on offense and defense in the freaking home opener of Allegiant Stadium on Monday Night Football. I'm taking the Saints.
Yeah, I'm taking the Saints to get to 2-0 and spoil the debut of the Raiders in Las Vegas.
Their home opener, man.
The home opener. This should be a blowout.
Yeah, in the inaugural game at Allegiant Stadium. I expect Drew Brees to go on a big killing spree in this one, too.
I think they are unstoppable. They might be an unstoppable force this year. I think they are really focused this year to get over that hump and finally get to the Super Bowl. I mean, still a long season left, but whoever has to run into the Saints this year, good luck.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say, especially after what they did to Tampa Bay. All right, yeah. So there you have it. We split on Browns and Bengals. We got Bears over the Giants. We got Rams over the Eagles. Here it is right there, the split. Bears over Giants, Rams over Eagles, Cowboys over Falcons, Buccaneers over the Panthers, 49ers over the Jets, Steelers over the Broncos, Titans over the Jaguars, Packers over the Lions, Bills over the Dolphins, Vikings over the Colts, and we got the Cardinals over the Washington football team, Ravens over the Texans, Chiefs over the Chargers, Seahawks over the Patriots, and the Saints over the Raiders. And there you have it. That's week 2. We went 10-6 last time, so whoever wins the split wins the split with me and Dallas. That should be a fun one, though, too. But that's basically how it's going to be. I think we picked a good one to split on, wouldn't you say, Dallas?
Yeah, because both teams we just feel are so horrible.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
Who's worse?
Who's worse? We have yet to see who is the worst. Who is the weakest link in Ohio?
Who's closer to contending, I guess? Who's further ahead in their rebuilding process?
Yeah. Other than that, give me your drop your game picks in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hit the sub button, ring the bell for notifications. And Dallas, thank you for doing this with me as usual. Once again, this was really fun, man.
Week 1 was exciting. I think the only game that was a blowout was the Ravens and the Browns.
I think that was the only blowout too, man. And then of course, obviously, we left no doubt about it in our game against Atlanta. And then, man, I'm excited for it, man. I'm just glad football's back. And until the next one, Sam Dog the Infamous 253. If you ain't with it, you ain't infamous. And as always, go Seahawks.